What is up? Alright, so welcome to my very first video for the You Can Know Things blog, and this is on how mRNA works and why the COVID vaccines will definitely not turn you into a GMO. Alright, so you know that your body is made up of cells, and in every cell there is a nucleus, which is where your DNA or your genome is stored. So here is a zoomed up picture of a piece of DNA. It has two strands, and then each strand has bases. It's made up of bases, and there are only 4 bases: A, C, T, and G. Those stand for different chemicals. Don't worry about that. All right, so the cool thing about DNA is because it's double-stranded and because the bases always pair the same way, so G always goes with C and A always goes with T, if you have one strand, you already know what the other strand is going to be because they match exactly. All right, so how do your genes actually do anything? DNA itself, it's goo. By itself, it can't do anything. But the reason DNA is so powerful is because it's an instruction book. And mRNA, which is here in red, is the photocopy of those instructions. All right, so the way this works is the 2 strands of DNA come apart, and then a protein comes in, and it reads the DNA code and makes a matching mRNA copy. Except for mRNA, we use U's instead of T's, but don't worry too much about that. And this is what we mean when we say turning on a gene or expressing a gene. It just means that an mRNA photocopy of that gene is made so that we can send those instructions out to the cell to build a protein. So before we go any further, there's one very important concept to know. This process only runs in one direction. DNA encodes for mRNA, but mRNA is not going to come into your nucleus and do anything to your DNA. It doesn't run backwards. It only runs forwards. So this is why you absolutely don't need to be worried about the mRNA vaccine messing with your DNA. That's just like that the system is set up with fail-safes to make sure that never happens. If it happened, cells would be already screwed up anyways, and we'd all be dead. So what does mRNA actually do, and why are we putting it in vaccines? So mRNA is like a photocopy of the instructions from the genome. So it leaves the genome and comes out into the main chamber of the cell, and it's picked up by what are called ribosomes, and the ribosomes read the instructions and make a protein. And the instructions come in basically groups of 3. So each 3-letter sequence encodes for one specific amino acid. So CAU encodes for histidine, which I'm using H to represent histidine. AUU encodes for isoleucine, and so on. So the ribosome just moves along the mRNA and pulls in the next correct amino acid and makes this long chain, which ultimately makes a protein. So then that protein, once it's fully made, folds up into the right exact conformation and does its job. In this case, it just makes a message which says, "Hi, Dad." But in the case of the COVID vaccine, that mRNA encodes for the COVID spike protein. So basically all we're doing with this vaccine is instead of directly giving the protein, we're just giving the instructions for the protein, and our cells know what to do with it because they translate mRNA all the time. And again, the process does not go backwards. So there's 0 chance that the mRNA is going to somehow mess up your genome, your DNA. That's not going to happen. All that's going to happen is your cell is going to read it and make a new protein, and then your immune system is going to respond to that protein. All right, so I hope this video helped you understand the COVID vaccines just a little better. Thanks for watching.